Some villains are so terrifying, so well designed, that you can't believe the studios responsible for them just threw them away. They build up this epic antagonist, this complex threat, and then either kill them off in a single scene, reduce them to a footnote, or make them so forgettable that fans pretend they never existed. Today, we're counting down the 10 most wasted villains in superhero history. The ones who could have defined entire franchises, but instead got squandered by lazy writing, bad timing, or creative incompetence. Let's jump into it. Look, villains make or break superhero stories. A great villain is half the movie. But some of the biggest studios on the planet have some of the worst track records when it comes to actually using their villains properly. Whether it's MCU villains who disappear after one movie, DC characters who get overshadowed, or franchises that just can't figure out how to keep a compelling antagonist around, the waste is real. We're talking about villains with serious potential, interesting powers, complex motivations, stunning character designs, who got absolutely thrown to the side. So buckle up, because these are some of the biggest what-ifs in superhero cinema. Number 10. Malekith, Thor: The Dark World. Malekith had so much going for him. This is an ancient elf warrior with cosmic power, a legitimate threat to the entire 9 realms, and the design is legitimately cool. But Thor: The Dark World decided to turn him into the most boring, one-note villain in the MCU. Tom Hiddleston's Loki got all the character development. Malekith just existed. He had one motivation: I want to destroy things with dark energy. That's it. No complexity, no layers, no reason to care about him. He's destroyed in the movie, never comes back, and nobody remembers him. What a waste of a mythologically rich character. Number 9. Suicide Squad villains, 2016. This entire movie is a masterclass in wasted potential. Deadshot, Harley Quinn, Killer Croc, Captain Boomerang, all supervillains with interesting backstories. But they're not actually the main threat. No, the main threat is an ancient witch god who wants to destroy things, I guess? These so-called villains spend the entire movie as heroes, fighting a forgettable interdimensional threat. The irony is, these characters had complex motivations, real tragic backstories, and then they're stuck fighting a generic CGI cloud. James Gunn's version was much better, but even then, the original film squandered an incredible ensemble. Number 8. Ronan the Accuser, Guardians of the Galaxy. Ronan is introduced as this unstoppable force, a Kree warrior with power so immense that entire civilizations fear him. And he's got a legitimate vendetta against Xandar. But the moment the Guardians show up, he becomes a punchline. He's not a complex villain with a plan. He's just a guy who gets beaten by a bunch of idiots dancing to a beat. One movie, no character development, dead. The Kree deserve better. The character deserves better. Instead, we got a big, forgettable CGI fight scene. Number 7. Two-Face, The Dark Knight Rises. Here's the thing about Two-Face in Rises. He appears for maybe 2 scenes. Two-Face is one of Batman's most psychologically interesting villains. He represents chaos and chance in the DC universe. Harvey Dent's transformation is tragic and powerful. But in Rises, he's just there. He barely does anything. He flips a coin, walks around, and then disappears from the movie. Christopher Nolan introduced this complex character and then immediately abandoned him. Tommy Lee Jones chewed scenery as Two-Face. Nolan had something real and threw it away. Number 6. Doomsday, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. Doomsday is, by design, one of Superman's most powerful enemies. He's supposed to be an extinction-level threat, the monster that killed Superman in the comics. But in Batman vs. Superman, he's a generic CGI blob created as an afterthought by Lex Luthor. They kill Superman to prove the stakes. They use Doomsday as a plot device, not a character. No motivation beyond destroy, no complexity, no memorable scenes. They turned one of DC's most interesting threats into a video game boss. And then, spoiler alert, Superman comes back 3 years later. So what was even the point? Number 5. Shredder. Various TMNT films. The Shredder has appeared in so many TMNT movies and shows, and almost every version somehow manages to be either laughably bad or criminally underused. Whether it's the original live-action films, the early 2000s CGI versions, or the Michael Bay Transformers-style 2014 reboot, the Shredder is constantly the biggest waste of potential. He should be this legendary ninja master, this symbol of discipline and power. Instead, he's either a joke, a background threat, or overshadowed by whatever random plot the writers decided on. The Shredder deserves an entire franchise to himself. Instead, he keeps getting wasted. Number 4. Killmonger, Black Panther. Now, Killmonger is interesting because he's a villain with legitimate ideological ground. He has a compelling backstory. He challenges T'Challa's worldview. But here's the problem. He shows up in Act 2 and is killed by Act 3. We never get to explore his ideology properly. We never see him actually lead Wakanda. We never understand what his vision would have looked like beyond aggressive imperialism. He's a fascinating character with incredible potential, and he's solved with a single knife fight. Michael B. Jordan played him brilliantly, but the script didn't give him nearly enough time. Number 3. Black Manta, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Black Manta is Aquaman's arch-enemy. He's got a personal vendetta, a cool design, and legitimate motivation for his hatred. But in Aquaman films, he's constantly overshadowed. In the first film, he's sidelined by the ocean-controlling plot. In the Lost Kingdom, he's given resurrection powers and then killed again. Black Manta should be this existential threat to Arthur Curry, a villain who understands the ocean and despises Aquaman personally. Instead, he's a recurring henchman who never gets the respect he deserves. Number 2. Lex Luthor, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. Lex Luthor is one of the greatest comic book villains ever created. He's Superman's philosophical opposite, intelligence versus power, greed versus idealism. But Jesse Eisenberg's version in Batman vs. Superman is a twitchy, erratic madman with no clear plan. He's sniffing cocaine, he's making weird speeches, he's creating Doomsday for reasons that barely make sense. Is he trying to prove Superman is dangerous? Is he trying to protect humanity? Is he just insane? The script doesn't know. They took one of DC's most thoughtful villains and turned him into a meme. Eisenberg's performance isn't the problem. The character is written so inconsistently that no one could make sense of it. Number 1. Ultron, Avengers: Age of Ultron. This one hurts because Ultron should have been terrifying. He's an artificial intelligence that views humanity as the disease and himself as the cure. He's got a legitimate philosophical position. James Spader voiced him with incredible menace and nuance. And then, he's destroyed in his first appearance. Not his first arc, not his first film series, his first appearance ever. Ultron gets maybe 2 or 3 scenes before the Avengers dismantle him completely. We never get to see his plan fully unfold. We never see him as a sustained threat across multiple films. They introduced one of Marvel's most powerful villains, killed him instantly, and moved on. It's the ultimate waste, incredible potential, gone in a single movie. Imagine if Ultron had returned across the MCU, building slowly, learning, evolving. Instead, we got one disappointing film and a character that's essentially been forgotten. So there you have it, the 10 most wasted villains in superhero history. These are characters with serious potential, interesting designs, complex motivations, and the resources of billion-dollar studios behind them. And yet, they got squandered, forgotten, or reduced to joke characters. The crazy part? Most of these franchises could have been saved by just giving their villains more time, more development, more respect. So here's my question for you. Which villain do you think got the most wasted? Drop your picks in the comments section. And if you enjoyed this ranking, smash that like button and subscribe for more superhero breakdowns. Because trust me, there are plenty more characters getting wasted out there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.